Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be carrying on with March's exceptional story, A Bright Future. So in the last episode we were tracking down the Futurist and we made a little bit of a meeting with Mr. Fires and some revolutionaries. But right now we have two options. We can meet with the Futurist. At last, you found his hidey hole. Or we can report the Futurist's location to Fires. It will find out by itself eventually. Handing over the information makes you look cooperative and may let you turn the situation to your advantage. Let's see what the masters do with this information. Normally I would side purely with the Futurist, but I am curious as to what Mr. Fires is going to do. You get word to Fires that the Futurist is hiding out in the Forgotten Quarter. You receive a note in return. A few words written in a red, spidery scroll. Detain him. Uh-oh. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. Oh well, let's meet with the Futurist. He secreted himself in the Forgotten Quarter, up near the banks of the river. The false stars are bright as you make your way to find him. He waits on an old rooftop, now set largely at ground level. One end is propped up by a pile of masonry, rendering it a makeshift viewing platform. He looks out along the river, contemplating the winking lamps of London. The bazaar towers above it all, its sigils shedding their own radiant light. A shame, he says. You're not sure he's addressing you. Such a shame. Well, we have two options. We can greet him. He's contemplating the death of his vision. He might be pleased to see a friendly face. Well, friendly-ish. We can seize the opportunity to sabotage the device. It's wrapped in cloth, tucked carefully on the low end of the roof. You could modify it without him even knowing. You may be able to have the Futurist sabotage the device later if he has been sufficiently convinced, but this is your chance to guarantee it. Let's play along for now. Let's greet him. He glances back, just a little. I miss it. He doesn't elaborate as to what. He gestures at the city. Think of what it could look like. Think of how different things could be. We weren't made to live in the dark. I thought if I could come up with the tools that the rest would follow from there, that the future we could have had might not be gone after all. He turns to you fully, his eyes bright and shining. You must think me a fool, a naive romantic. So we can either reassure him. To dream of a better future is no sin. To strive to create one is a great virtue. We can let him down gently. He was wrong to think that technology alone was the answer. But being an idealist is no crime either. Or we can tell him precisely how wrong he was and why. Yes, actually, he is a fool. Just another blinkered inventor who thought technological solutions could somehow solve social problems. I mean, this is probably the most realistic response here, but let's reassure him. I'm sure it's fine. He smiles, though not without sadness. I just want us to be the best we can be, in spite of what we are. He shakes his head. My mistake was seeing only the world that should be, and not the one that is. I should have shown more pragmatism. A shape separates from the towers of London and flares with blazing light. A dirigible heading for the Forgotten Quarter. Searchlight sweeping the ground. It seems, sighs the Futurist, that I shall have the opportunity to put that pragmatism into practice. Mr. Fire's shadow hangs heavy over this whole business. High above, the dirigible looms even closer. Casting your eyes around the quarter, you see shapes moving in the shadows. An army of Neddy men, boxing you in. Ask him how the device came to be. Did he intend for it to be a device that could harm the masters? Absolutely not, he says. I had only hoped to stun it at the meeting, a flash of bright light and run for the hills. But it turned out to be rather more than that, didn't it? He has always been a scientist and inventor. and he has always used whatever means were available to him. His delves into the red science have been shallow, brief, and irregularly explosive. But it's always been a means to an end. And that end is just as he said it was. A way to give London back her future. The fact that the device is so inimical to the Masters is a startling coincidence for all involved. Whether that coincidence is a happy or unhappy one, however, depends very much on whose robe you're wearing. So, 3 big options here. We can convince him to sabotage the device. If he really wants a brighter future, how about one that starts with a bang? We can convince him to work with Mr. Fires. It seems inevitable at this point. At least if he cooperates, he might get a say in what happens next. Or we can convince him to destroy the device. This is the only sensible option. Honestly, I think I'm going to convince him to work with Mr. Fires. Fires is coming, and will stake its claim to the device. It may be a volatile, untrustworthy, and vicious creature, but at this point, it's the futurist's best shot at getting the future he imagined. Work with Mr. Fires? Says the futurist, his voice peaking shrill. Work with Mr. Fires? There must be another way. He looks around, as if expecting the Forgotten Quarter to manifest some unlikely alternative. I suppose nothing worth doing is easily achieved, and it does have the resources to make this possible. The dirigible comes to an ungainly halt over a relatively flat section of the quarter. A ramp is lowered, and Mr. Fires disembarks, ringed by a squad of Neddy men. The futurist shifts. Seems for a moment as if he's about to make a run for it. Then he steadies. To await the master. The board has been set. There's nothing more to do but await the next move. Mr. Fires does not hurry. Mr. Fires is enjoying every moment of this. Was Mr. Fires born with such an ominous walk, or did it have to practice? Mr. Fires looks between you, the futurist and the device. You can't see its smile beneath that hood, but it oozes into its voice. I'd thought for a moment that I'd found a like mind, someone who'd do anything to elevate this fine city. It waves a hand at the futurist. Like finding a rat with a shared taste in wine. But still, curious. I just wanted a better future for London, says the futurist. The one that we were denied by... He checks himself. I wanted to give people a better city. People, Rose Fires. People want so much and are prepared to give so little. If I listened to people, there'd be no progress at all. Ooh, progress at any price. Things will never get better for anybody if we try to please everybody. Or the future cannot come at the cost of people. No one can truly claim to be building a better world while they break other people's backs to do it. Which one of these options does my character follow? Let's go the future cannot come at the cost of people. The futurist looks conflicted. True, but it's also true that no great change has ever been achieved without sacrifice, compromise. He regards Fires. If you waste my time with circular prattle, it snaps. It jabs a finger at the device. That belongs to me. The futurist puts himself between Fires and the device. And what do you mean to do with it? Have it, says Fires peevishly. Keep it, as is my right. It peers past the dirigible towards the city.
Perhaps I will light London with it. Perhaps I will use it to run a factory. Perhaps I will use it to menace my peers. You gave up the right to decide.
Tell Mr. Fires where to stick it. Oh God, please. No, make the case for cooperation. The Futurist may, just may, be a moderating influence on Fires. Fires itself can benefit from his expertise, and with Fires' resources, the Futurist could accomplish a great deal. We could tell the Futurist that Fires has to be right. Like it or no, the Futurist does owe Fires. The device belongs in its hands. It claws. Whatever. Or we can tell Mr. Fires where to stick it. It's a shame you don't have a chalkboard handy. God, I really want to try this one, but no, I do think I'm going to make the case for cooperation. I think it's the best choice. Mr. Fires waves a hand dismissively at your proposal of a mutually beneficial agreement. Still, it regards the Futurist intently, eyes flashing with greed and renewed interest. He pales a little under its gaze. If, he says, if the terms are right, then perhaps...
Would the postponement of imminent violence be terms enough?
Fires hisses. You are making this very difficult, Mr. Fires. At a gesture from Fires, the Neddy men start forward. Now is the moment. We can let Fires take the device, the Futurist will give up the device and agree to enter Mr. Fires' employ, or we can destroy the device. Oh, whoops, how careless of you. This will incur Mr. Fires' displeasure, which is commonly expressed in the form of a rigorous pummeling with wooden sticks. Let's let Fires take the device, and hopefully he will be nice to the Futurist. Mr. Fires snatches up the device and gives the Futurist a triumphant look.
I'll send someone to pick you up first thing in the morning. Congratulations on your new position.
It chuckles. The Futurist sighs heavily. Well, it could have gone worse. He checks himself over. I need a bath. A very long one. But first of all, I need to get out of this wretched place. Well, let's make ourselves scarce. Fires' dirigible still hovers above. Best take your leave in case the situation changes again. You clamber down from the roof and pick your way out of the Forgotten Quarter. The paltry gas lamps of London seem very far away right now. Above, the dirigible casts off its lines and chugs away, belching smoke. You see the Futurist back to his lodgings. It is, of course, the little townhouse around the corner from Gascoigne Court, where he held his meeting for investors.
Well, he says, let's just hope that Mr. Fires is less nefarious than it may outwardly appear.
He looks like he's swallowed a rancid lemon. Let's bid him farewell. Perhaps you'll see him again, if his new employer ever lets him off the leash. The Futurist smiles thinly. I went about this all backwards. You can't work around power if you want to change the world. You need to reshape it, convince it that it stands to benefit as well. He pales. Suddenly can't look at you. Thanks for your... well, thanks for everything. He shuts the door rather abruptly. Look for an opportunity card in London to conclude a bright future. Bear with me. There we go. A bright future. A terrifying gift basket. It was only a matter of time before the next attempt on your life. The gift basket, deposited on your doormat, is an unusually transparent one, however. It's ticking, for goodness sake. Take cover, behind the chaise, before the wretched thing goes off. The basket does not, in fact, go off. The basket is, in fact, a motley collection of objects sent by Mr. Fires. The ticking, no doubt, was an oversight that simply hadn't occurred to it, not even a little bit. There's still no sign of it taking any action with its newfound resources. Either the Futurist and his device have been less pliable than Mr. Fires would like, Or perhaps Mr. Fires itself has proved more suggestible under the Futurist's influence than expected. More likely, though, that it has just grown distracted with some fresh exploitation. London, then, remains in the dark for the time being. Wow, we got a lot of stuff here. Ancient hunting rifle, a hill mover, an unlawful device, 2 whirling contraptions, 1 bizarre permit, and a tale of terror. We also are quite heavily connected to the masses of the bizarre at this point. What can I say? I gravitate towards the powerful people. But this concludes A Bright Future. So, I'm going to thank you all very much for being here. This is a slightly shorter episode today. I am very much intrigued as to the other options of this story. So, if you wouldn't mind letting me know in the comments down below, not only does it help boost the video's statistics, it also lets me know what the hell actually happens if you side with the revolutionaries or you destroy the device. But either way, thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. If you want to help support the channel, please become a member. It means the absolute world to me, and it really does help me make these videos. And thank you obviously to the people who are already members. But as always, I'll see you next time.